What's up? It's Megan, and today's video I want to talk about ethnicity subliminals. And I just want to talk about how this has been really affecting not just the subliminal community, but people around the subliminal community who are really looking at our community and seeing it as offensive and seeing our community as shallow and just bothersome and problematic. And the reason I want to make this video is mainly because I don't think it's a problematic thing to want to change your ethnicity using ethnicity subliminals. There is no difference really between changing any type of physical feature with a subliminal and also changing the entire ethnicity of yourself. And we can talk about this all day long, but that's the bottom line, okay? So an ethnicity subliminal basically is when you are changing your DNA to be of a different ethnicity. So the point would be that you would actually take a DNA test and it would come out as a different ethnicity because you're using your subconscious mind to change your actual DNA structure and your genetics using your subconscious and your body's intentions. And this can be done, and people are trying to say that it can be done, but it shouldn't be done. Period. End of story. Is like, there's no difference between you changing one feature of yourself and then changing the entire thing. So anybody who's doing subliminal messaging, they're trying to, possibly get blonde hair or get blue eyes, they would be changing themselves to a more Nordic descent. So I don't get how, this is becoming a problem. I mean, what their argument is from the other side is that because you're not taking on the ancestral trauma and the ancestral abuse of a certain ethnicity that they've gone through in their lives, and you're kind of just taking the aesthetic and you're not taking their trauma, that you're doing a disrespectful thing to the communities and to the people who used to be that ethnicity. And that makes a lot of sense. You're taking that and you're just using it as an aesthetic because you just think it's cute or you just think it looks good or whatever. However, with ethnicity subliminals, you are literally becoming that ethnicity, and there's such a thing as ancestral genetic trauma in spirituality that's actually passed down in genetics. So in theory, if this did work, you would be taking all of that trauma in your DNA because trauma actually passes down in DNA. And you would be taking that on right now as a person in the present. And therefore, you would not be just taking an idea. You would take memories. You would take a lot of stuff into it. Now, what I think happens is most of these subliminals have affirmations kind of against that. And they have affirmations that are just for the aesthetic. So it's not really happening. So I think that when we're using the term ethnicity, people aren't actually changing into a different ethnicity. They're really just taking on the genetic physical markers of a group of people, and that's what's happening. They're not actually going through ancestral changes, and they're not actually going through new bodies and new reality shifts where they would be like growing up in that village or something crazy like that. Like, that is not happening, and that's the only way that that could be happening, guys, is if people were doing reality shifting and people were actually like going to a new reality and shifting to a new reality and then living in that reality, living in that experience. And that's up for somebody's that's your ability to do anything. So if you're gonna let people create their own reality and you're gonna let people be the creators of reality that they are and have that power and that intention, then why would you get mad at them for trying to change certain things about their ethnicity? Because it is pretty much the same thing. I understand that maybe taking it to that level makes people see just how intense of an idea it is that we can create our own reality, because this has a lot of implications. This implies that everything you've done is supposedly something you attracted or magnetized to yourself. There's a lot of what was I gonna say? So that's pretty much how you can see that this is intense stuff that we're dealing with, where you're creating your own reality. And possibly you wouldn't have these issues if you tried to see them as non-issues. And that's kind of like what you focus on manifests. And that can kind of be taken into the rest of your life, and you can really live by that. And it really helps somebody feel stable and emotionally stable and just happier, because you're happier when you feel like you're in control and when you feel like your life is determined by you. And it's unhappy to feel like everything's by fate and you have no control over anything that happens to you. It's worse, it's more traumatic. So with subliminal messaging, you can do anything. You can be anything. You can have anything. You can see into the future. The future is not an enigma. It's something very clear. You can kind of see how everything's happening at once, and it's not just spread out by like what we do and what we think and what we say. And that's super, super empowering. So I want to let that emotion like empower people. I don't want people to feel like this ethnicity subliminal stuff is like meant to be like this like aesthetic, like how people dress like certain ethnicities and they try to like imitate them. I don't think that's what this is, and if that is what it is, I wouldn't condone it. But I do think this is more just people taking their reality into their own hands and doing what is God-given to them, really, and our God-given creator ability. And again, like, your ethnicity changes as you're reincarnated onto planes of existence. So your ethnicity is always changing. So you might not be born as a white Caucasian. You might be reborn as somebody of a different ethnicity. So does that mean that those people of Mexican descent, if they were born as a white Caucasian in their past life, are they different now because they're of a different ethnic descent? Or can we actually look and see everybody is just a soul and a spirit inside of a physical body, right? That doesn't actually have anything to do with who they really are on the inside. And we can look past that, and we can look into people's spirits and realize, you know what? Like, everybody's just a spirit and everybody's just a soul having this experience in a physical body. And that's beautiful. And that's not ignoring people's race. That's not what I'm saying. But it's actually just looking into people's souls, their spirits, and kind of seeing stuff on a higher level, and not just looking at stuff from a very physical perspective. And that's been my main goal, with teaching people subliminal messaging, is I'm very sick and tired of seeing the world being so materialistic and shallow, and looking at people's physical bodies and liking people just because they're physically beautiful. This kind of stuff makes me very sad. So that's why I try to bring in subliminals, because you can now see that the physical is affected by your words, it's affected by your emotions, it's affected by the good and the good in you, and that affects it, and that can change our reality. So if we don't want negativity, then we just have to stop bringing up negativity, because we don't necessarily have to have it. And I don't know if that, did anything or helped anybody have clarification, but I just kind of felt like I had to get that off my chest. And I just kind of felt like when I was reading this stuff, like, people are just getting very annoyed for no reason. And that emotion of anger is going to manifest in their lives, and it might manifest bad things for them, and it might make their lives more turmoil and more traumatic, because they keep focusing on this aggression that they're reacting to. So trying to have no emotional reaction to things we don't like actually stops them from manifesting so much in our reality. And that can really help us being more spiritually, calm and I don't know, just better. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have no idea what the background looks like, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, please don't give it a thumbs down. No, I'm just kidding. And yeah, my name is Megan. It's at Megan X Rose, and I love you guys so much. All right, Bye. Talk to you later.